So ever since April 14th, a Blue Origin spaceflight received endless backlash, not just due to the fact that Katy Perry and her overall behavior was just so outlandish, but also how we had celebrities on there like Katy Perry, Gayle King, and others out there like Jeff Bezos, of course, fiance on board, looking into the camera as opposed to looking out the window. That was one of the other pieces of the major criticism out there. But what's interesting here has a lot more to do with Katy Perry and exactly how she's getting mocked even further, and it doesn't appear to be stopping at any point soon. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, we already know that number one, Katy Perry really just got very defensive against the overall backlash against not just her, but the entire crew on board of Blue Origin. But number two, we know that Katy Perry now regrets the space flight overall because of how much backlash it's bringing her and how it's really not good for her overall career. But what's interesting about this further has a lot more to do with South Park Studios and Paramount, who, by the way, have been on a roll so far, not just in 2024, but also it looms in 2025. So let's get into this. Now, one thing that I really do love about Trey Parker and Matt Stone is that they like to always evolve when it comes to South Park. They like to try out new things, they like to test their boundaries, they like to see exactly what they can and can't get away with when it comes to fan reception, when it comes to public reception, in a major attempt to bring in new fans, right? And they've done that successfully one after the other with every single special and or season. What's interesting here has a lot more to do with their recent mockery of Katy Perry and the whole Blue Origin spaceflight and exactly what's going down as we speak right now. Now, with the Katy Perry and Blue Origin spaceflight that they took on April 14th, still getting mocked to this day, we all know that. However, one major development now involves both South Park Studios and Paramount and what they are doing towards those like Katy Perry, Gayle King, and the entire spaceflight backlash topic. Already, of course, both South Park creators and Trey Parker and Matt Stone are tweaking one of their episodes for season 27, set to debut by this July, to throw in an entire storyline that will not only mock and poke fun at both Katy Perry and Blue Origin, but that the episode that's in the works right now that will feature Katy Perry going up to space will also work in conjunction with the parody version of P. Diddy in space. Both Parker and Stone reportedly hopped on this immediately and are incorporating the spaceflight backlash into episode 4 for season 27, where they plan to have those like Katy Perry, Gayle King, and others to meet P. Diddy in space, where the shape of the space shuttle will also be mocked by the many South Park characters that will join these celebrities like Katy Perry in space as well. Now, both Parker and Stone are reportedly doubling down for season 27 to be the best season yet by using nearly every cultural event that happened in 2025 to be inserted in, of course, the season somehow in the storyline. To make matters worse for Katy Perry's sake is that this will certainly elongate the spaceflight backlash and mockery throughout the entire summer once the season actually does drop. The Diddy list will also be mocked in the very same episode that will feature Katy Perry and Gayle King going up to space. Something that you can only imagine how far they're going to go with that. One concept that both Parker and Stone already created was that part of the parody will focus on testing Botox in their face, and how this is an idea by Jeff Bezos, a person who was already mocked on South Park before some years ago, with the episode focusing on the space flight serving as a test launch to see how Botox holds up in their face. Space, of course, mixed with space. Crew, of course, meeting P. Diddy in space in a prison jumpsuit. Both Parker and Stone reportedly made Paramount executives very confident and exhilarated on how comedic this season is going to be, and how it will certainly not only bump up ratings, but will also bring in new subscribers for Paramount Plus and new fans for South Park in general. So guys, I don't know if you really saw the Pandaverse, alright, it's a special called Joining the Pandaverse. It dropped in October of 2023, where they really poked fun at, Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger, the Disney CEO, and everything that there actually was going on over at Disney at the time. That was the one major event back in 2023, and now you have a series of events that took place toward the tail end of 2024 and throughout the beginning of this year that they're going to harness that for season 27. And you can only imagine how much Katy Perry is going to resent Trey Parker and Matt Stone for really bringing this, of course, into their overall parody, into their actual new season, to mock Blue Origin, to bring Jeff Bezos back into the equation here as they did previously, and how Katy Perry will be mocked in this episode. They're aiming to do this in, like I said before, season 27, episode 4. Now, moving on, Parker and Stone are also in the works of mocking the shape of the shuttle to actually dock with a giant space station that appears like a robotic man. I mean, you can only imagine where they're going with that one. Now, Parker and Stone are best described as very active with season 27 by paying close attention to any major event in 2025 to insert for this new one to bring in new fans. They are also preparing for their DEI special by this August. However, they have met with some setbacks for all of that during development as they plan to incorporate other elements of Katy Perry now into that story, as well as P. Diddy. Now guys, let me just stop here for one moment again. Let me just say one thing about this Blue Origin spaceflight. There are a lot of valid reasons. There is valid criticism out there as to why Katy Perry and Gayle King and everyone else on board, and just the entire subject of Blue Origin featuring these celebrities and why they're getting mocked. There is valid criticism out there, and that's exactly why the mockery is continuing to worsen as time goes by. And now it's getting to a point where you have those like Parker and Stone, Trey and Matt, working on this over at South Park Studios, mocking Katy Perry in the process. This, I think, is going to be legendary. I think it's really going to definitely bump up ratings for not just Paramount, but it's also going to actually bring in fans, new fans, so to speak, for South Park. We already saw the teaser for season 27. If you have not, go ahead and check it out to see how far they are willing to go to mock any event that takes place in 2025. And that in particular, I think, just shows you how Parker and Stone at this point, I think that they are holding zero boundaries for 2025. I mean, not that they had really major boundaries before, but it seems like they definitely are upping it up a notch. Now again, one thing about Katy Perry, I must say, when she actually spoke out against the critics not too long ago, it really seems like that she's getting very defensive. She's dragging gender politics into this spaceflight. She's really making it all about women this and women that, really undervaluing men going to space, and they really are just doubling down on that overall narrative. And we're going to not stop hearing this from Katy Perry, I'm sure. We already know that Gayle King is also saying similar things about that Blue Origin spaceflight. Again, though, like I've said before in the past, Paramount really wants to bring in more subscribers for their streaming platform, and they're going to do just that with this new South Park season. I think they're going to really knock it out of the park. They're going to do an excellent job, and everything else related to Paramount in general, I think, is really going to bounce back to Comedy Central as well. We'll have to wait and see. But overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about the whole Katy Perry situation in space and how she will be mocked in South Park. She will be mocked alongside with P. Diddy in space for South Park season 27. That's another thing that I think is going to really take off. But overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.